I better keep this adult orientated or else I'm going to get smacked across the chops. I found a very interesting piece of Thomas and Friends merchandise here. There's something here we may look at in this video. Oops, there's my cue card for this video so I don't forget what to talk about and the structure of the video. But it's what's in this bag here. I got a big surprise to find this. I only found one. So what do we have in here? Oh yeah, it's an All Engines Go, My Busy Books, Thomas and Friends. It looks amazing.
Oh, give me a frickin' break! Why are we looking at that frippin' My Busy Books? That's for little frippin' kids! I mean, this is just a cloaked kids video. This guy's a frippin' loser. And before we get into this video, we better do that warning. Warning! The warning has been removed. And what does that frippin' mean? Educational video? What a bunch of BS! And before we go any further, we're going to take a look at the stock at this loser's favourite store just 2 weeks before Christmas. The Thomas and Friends stock and the Hot Wheels. Do you reckon there's going to be stacks of stuff or zip ball? Well, let's take a look.
I'm back at my favourite retailer. This is where I sometimes find some nice Thomas stock, but 2023 has been a bit dry. It's just 2 weeks to Christmas. I've spoken about this part of the store before. This is the cell where I'll find the Bluey toys. A lot of that stuff is sold out. And as I drag myself down here to the lower level, we find the Thomas and Friends stock occupying the 1/3 bottom part of the cell. This motorised AEG set, plenty of these here, which is good to see. There's nothing wrong with this set. There'll be some children getting this for Christmas, which is a nice thing. But maybe what would be better than that there is the revised Percy 6-in-1 set. This is the one to get, I think. It's always been the set to get. But what is very curious here is when I take a look at the motorised AEG stock, and I've done a divide up of the stock here, and we're going to do a bit of stock counting. Percy's often been a bit of a hard sell. It reminds me when Toby used to permeate the old Trackmaster stock as well. It was always sitting around. I've divided it up, so we've got one row here. Let me count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Just double checking, 8 Percy's there, so someone's going to get a lot of Percy's for Christmas. This will be 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, 15 Percy's, and what I will do is I'll make it nice and neat and tidy, and to square it off, I'll put that Percy there. Looks much better. Here's the other characters available, and I'll be counting them off. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 Thomases, and 4 only. So remember, 4 Thomases. We've got, looks like 1, 2 Canners. This is one which I've noticed seems to be quite popular, or is it there's not many supplied to shop? Okay, and this surprised me. We've only got 1, 2 Nias. Now, thinking back in the past, Nia was always a hard sell, but there's not many Nias here now. And one of my favourites, Diesel. Well, there's only 1 Spankin' Diesel. So with any luck, all these engines here will sell before Christmas. Let's hope some more stock comes in here. What's missing is the metal engine, the non-motorized version. None at all. There hasn't been any here for a while. But the thing I'm showing you here is there's heaps of Percy's. Percy's should be on special. At least there's Thomas and Friends stock here. If there was nothing here, I'd certainly be crabbing. I've seen it much worse than this in the lead up to Christmas. And what I noticed here, and this is a little bit disturbing, but not surprising, considering this Kmart, oops, did I say the... Well, I might just say my local favourite store, okay? Not Kmart. This is out of a motorised blah blah. Okay, that's the constructions and how to put batteries in and out. As for why this is just sitting here away from packaging is worrying. Hopefully a nice honest appraisal of the Thomas stock here at my local favourite retailer. Of course, in the other video when I looked here, I spoke about the cell. That's the cell between there and there. Thomas is taking up 1/3 of the cell. And there was a time when the good old days in a sense, when I used to be able to crawl up here and show all Thomas and Friends stock. But of course these days, well, we just live in very different times, don't we? Actually, there's a freaking awesome Bluey thing up the top here. Something there? Bluey's Beach blah blah. Okay. And of course, if you want to think back to the really good old days, there used to be a time when the whole aisle used to be Thomas and Friends stuff. But hey, those days seem to be over. While I'm here, let me take a look at the Hot Wheels stock. Okay, the glorious Hot Wheels aisle. I've got a few things to say in this aisle here, and I'll try to keep it brief. But we're going to take a look at where the Single pack Kaza. I'm just standing nice and still here, and I'm just going to go up nice and slowly here. As you can see, the choices are amazing. Lots of stock there to choose from, but that's very normal in the lead up to Christmas, and it really shows you just how popular this little toy car is. One thing that's semi-amazing is the Hot Wheels price is one of the few things that hasn't gone up in price in the last couple of years. Everything's jacked up since we came out of the pandemic, without saying certain words. But maybe the only thing keeping this price down is the competition, and there's that car there, and these are $1 cars, okay? So while these are around, I think Mattel will have to be pinched down to $2. That is the price in Australia. Purely for those who never believe a word I say, $1. I almost forgot to say my favourite saying, you can't make a cent from an empty peg, but hey, it's almost like situation normal in certain times of year with these very, very popular toy cars. Now, I know what's going to happen is the metal machines, which are only $1, they will be next to full. I'll come back in here maybe in a couple of days' time, and there'll be none of these little guys left. One thing which is good to see, and it's a little bit surprising, is there's lots of 5-packs here. I think they're great value for a toy that's only $9, but I'm pretty sure all this stock here will be gone by the time Christmas hits. Okay, these Fast and Furious packs. I don't think I've got to putting up the very final video of the problems that were going on in the store in relation to this stock, and there was a huge problem. What I notice here is, notice the white spiders are on the stock, but notice none of the stock has been broken into, because I do believe the person who was coming in and fiddling with this stock has finally been apprehended, or should I just say scared away. But it had taken a long time to get to the point of resolving the problem here with the stock here, and boy oh boy, it was quite interesting to see what was going on here for way too long. Okay, the infamous Hot Wheels 20 packs, and in this store here, crikey Charlies, they were being fiddled with and diddled with for a very long time. I think the prices come down. I thought they were higher than that, I have to double check. But there was a time here where if the stock was sitting here without a wire spider, people were getting into the ends of these and pulling out whatever they wanted. Mainly it was some special cars in these that were being flogged off. There's a child screaming in here, they probably want toys, don't they? Show you the other end as well. Okay, so yeah, all of a sudden we've got a totally different dynamic going on here, but boy oh boy did it take a long time to resolve. I notice there's a couple of sets up here. It's about head height. I'm just going to look at this as well. Now, see, nothing's been fiddled with. I'll put these down with these ones here like a good person resorting out the shop. And that child is still screaming. I never thought I'd see the day when all of a sudden the Hot Wheels 20 packs at my local favourite store were not being fiddled and diddled with. It's a miracle. I got quite excited to see that All Engines Go My Busy Books, but I wasn't excited about the price. We will talk about the price soon. I almost caused a massive scene in the shop when I purchased this, because it was set up as a bit of a trap. Let me just push these aside. We've got a few other things to look at as well. And to tell the story, I've also got a bit of historic My Busy Books stuff as well. I've always spoken very highly about My Busy Books. It's a fantastic way to get into anything, really. This is a Tattletales doodah. It's like a smaller version of My Busy Books. But what's really important, we talk price, because for adults, YouTube, frippin' adults, that's the normal price I would pay for My Busy Book. They're usually around $10. Just take notice there, it says recommended retail price $16.95. Let's call that $17. Just remember $17. I've purchased a lot of My Busy Books in different themes over the years. I've always spoken highly of My Busy Books. You never hear me say a bad word about them. They come with a set of toys, there's a book experience, and there's also a playmat. You can't go wrong. And the best thing about these, it was very, very simple. It was the price point. I've never seen it at that higher price. I've always picked it up as it's basically a $10 item. If you're paying $12, I think you're starting to get ripped off. And I think this one here in my hand was the third version of the Thomas Friends ones. I hope I'm right there. If I'm wrong, please forgive me. There was one that featured Rosie on the front, I hope. And I think there was the original core one. So if, let's say, if this is the third one, well, it makes the All Engines Go one the fourth variant. When I saw this My Busy Book in the shop, I thought it was a $10 item. Boy, was I wrong. Let's talk about price. Well, I paid $19.99, that's actually $20 in Australia, for this My Busy Book. When I looked at the shelving where I picked it up from, I could see a price there, but that price is for something else. I couldn't see the $19.99 on the shelving where this book was sold. Although on the back of this book, there is a price tag, but the price is printed extremely small. Bubble, come on, this is a serious video. I can't have you distracting me and wanting to lick stuff and push stuff over. Come on. You're not interested in My Busy Books or prices, are you? Come on, you better come down. We're going to stay here. Okay. If you want to stay here, you can stay here, or you're going to go. Well, I'll push on with Bubble here. She'll probably push stuff over in a second. The thing I want to make a point of here is, if I get my hand in here and we take a look at the price ticket, you'll start to see just how tiny the printing there is of the price. I think that's ridiculous. It looks like Bubble has set in on the table. Anyway, I did purchase some items from exactly the same store earlier in the year. It was post-Christmas when the stuff became cheaper. And let me just show you what their price tags are normally like. And if I line it up there, and we'll take a look at that price tag versus that one, maybe you'll see what I'm talking about. One price tag is nice, big and clear and easy to read. The one on the My Busy Book is stupidly minute. So that's one example of one of their price tags. I've actually got another example here. It's on this item here. And if I put this here and then maybe stack up that My Busy Book there with other My Busy Books, I can get the price tag together. Maybe to get a really nice alignment, if I put that All Engines Go book there, and if I grab my new My Busy Book there, then the price tags start to line up really nicely. Okay, there's the two price tags there from the same shop, roughly 10 months apart. There's a pencil in there for scale as well. Look at the $19.99 on the My Busy Book. It is frippin' tiny font. It's an absolute joke. It feels like a trap. We need to get back to price tickets that represent the price in this scale here. This is easy to see, easy to read, easy to understand. This here feels like a trap. Maybe you can say to me, I'm completely wrong. I still go back to the way it was set up in store on the shelving there. There was a price there, but there was no price for the My Busy Book. And then this micro pricing on the back of the book. Nah, it just sort of ranked and stank with me. And then, I don't know, I nearly caused a major scene when I heard what this came up for on the register. But it was the only one there, and I wanted to look at this, of course, in this stupid video, and we'll get into this thing here now. But I don't know, I'm just getting old, cranky, and there's nothing worse than the cranky man-child arguing about price in a shop, and that's what nearly happened. Okay, this beautiful All Engines Go My Busy Book. If you're not familiar with My Busy Books, it's a very simple formula. You've got 10 figures in here, you've got a play mat, and the story plays out with each character that becomes a figure in the book. I can't show you the whole book because books are bound by copyright. I'll do one more page. Okay, so each character you see will be represented in here, and of course there is the playmat as well. And the synopsis and everything about these is actually laid out on the back here, and you start to get a feel for what the playmat is and everything that's good about My Busy Books. While I'm looking on the back of the book here in an adult way, because we're talking to adults, I should point out the licensing. It is a 2023 licensed product. Very strange to be looking at something fresh and new. If only it was still $10. Mind you, it is a very well presented bit of gear. You can see the way they've put the engines down the side here. And I have opened this up and I've undone the bits of sticky tape that hold that piece in. Okay, we will take a look at the playmat, if I can get it out. Of course, nothing's easy, is it? I'm just going to do it like this. Okay, it's all out. I can tell you this, what I'm seeing there looks radically different to what I've seen before out of a Thomas Friends My Busy Book. I've actually got, I call it the OG version of these, and if I put those there, maybe we'll start to just see how different it presents when we take a look at what was in earlier versions of My Busy Book versus the Thomas Friends All-Engine Go. Well, there's a classic chalk and cheese shot if ever you want to see one. It's like the difference between looking at Venus versus Mars. My God, look at the difference between the old classic Thomas and Friends My Busy Book toys versus the All-Engine Go My Busy Book toys. Frippin' hell. Of course, I'm quite curious to do some hardcore comparisons. I can see James. We can compare James to James. Of course, we can compare Thomas to Thomas. I've got to think here. It's freaking hard in my brain. I can use Tattletales. I'm going to do a bit of a cheat here because it is the same generation of toys in a sense. I can grab a Nia. We can compare a Nia to Nia, which is going to be interesting. And there's a Percy here. I can compare Percy to Percy. These comparisons are going to get pretty wild. Well, it's pretty clear to me what's going on here. The original My Busy Book characters or toys were rendered in a way the real engines looked, and that was the magic of these little representations of the characters. That was the big charm to what was going on here. And strangely, sometimes these look better than a lot of the toys that were coming out of whatever toy company without mentioning big names. Yet when we take a look at the All Engines Go My Busy Book characters here, we're seeing a representation of what you're going to see on that 2D animated Thomas and Friends show, and not much else. Okay, you might, if you love this style and the look of this, you're going to be very happy. But if you like something that's more realistic, that's what you need to get into. A really simplistic way to explain this, very simple. These are like little models. These here are like little toys. And if I look back at the Tattletales here, and there's a rendering of Rebecca here that really gives you a feel for the grandeur and size of Rebecca, and you never got that feeling when you looked at the toys that represented her. She always seemed to be squashed up, condensed and terrible. And if I sit Rebecca here like that, and if I bring up Thomas, and you start to just get that feeling of the scale of one engine versus another, and that's often been lacking with the Thomas and Friends stuff. It's always been amazing to see such small, inexpensive toys to be so enchanting. Okay, well, I will slide that stuff that way. I'll slide this less enchanting stuff that way. We may look at some of those, but I'm going to come in next and look at these side by side. Okay, this is Percy, All Engines Go version of My Busy Books. I'm doing it via infamous in-hand appraisal. There's the face. And let's just say it's really strange. Maybe strange is good. There's missed opportunities. There should have been more details put on this. You can see where they could have painted up a bit more with the cab windows and whatever. Maybe the coal bunker could have had a bit of a paint. That's what's going on underneath. I'm not quite sure about the scale of the wheels with All Engines Go. Are they meant to be this small? I don't watch this show. I don't want to do the brain damage that could occur if you do watch the show. I just try to keep the good memories of what goes on. And if I look at the classic Percy from the My Busy Books, there it is there. It's just so different. Yeah, which one does your eye go to? And you think, wow, well, I think it's this one here, the one I'm wriggling there, the classic one. There's so much more detail going on this Percy here. It looks like they really were trying. It's even got a good face. It's got, painted running board. I mean, this is where it's at. I'm sort of thinking this thing here is where it's not at. Next up is James, and this is quite large versus the other models in the All Engines Go Busy Book. I'll flare it there so you can see the wheel configuration. I think there's lots of missed opportunities here. That's the face there. It's like a Halloween special. I think it's just really strange, but maybe strange is good, or maybe strange is saying to us a bit lazy. Hey, that's underneath. If I hold up Percy next to this James, then you get a bit of a feel for the faces going on there. I just think they're quite freakish. There'd be one word I could use. That's a nicer word, I dare say. But you also get a feel for the size. Percy just seems like a dumpling in a sense of it just seems very bulbous and round. This James here, and the detail missing factor is, I can point it out by bringing up the classic James from the My Busy Book. Sure, it's a fair bit smaller, a lot smaller, but man, there's a lot of things going on there that is not going on that All Engines Go My Busy Book James. Why is the big question I'm asking. Remember, it was a lot more in price to get this set here, that James there I'm wriggling, versus these here. And there's that saying, the devil is in the detail, and normally detail equals price. Take a comparison of the faith of there. I'll tell you which one I know I prefer. Not the Freak Boy, but this one here is just really quite stunning, considering it's just from a very inexpensive and wonderful Thomas Friends book / toy. I just dropped that James there, but man, this James here, I don't know. It's not doing for me. It's more like a frippin' freak show. Next up is Nia, and Nia is a strange engine in the sense, because I think in the real world Nia is narrow gauge, although she seems to run around with all the standard gauge engines somehow in Thomas and Friends. That's a wheel configuration there flaring for you, and I'm pretty sure what's missing on Nia here is a stack of detailing. They've got some things here like that little thing next to her faces there, and maybe they've got a half decent face, but I think there's a bunch more that could have been done here that would have made Nia far more awesome. There's a fairly sloppy paint job going on as well. I can see a lot of just poor spraying on the footplate there across the front. And if I bring up a Nia from the Tattletales, it's the same series of stuff as My Busy Books. You can just see how spectacular Nia is when she's represented in the format that she's really in. Maybe it's bad to compare that Nia there to the All Engines Go. Taking a look at the faces, yeah, I mean, even the face on that Tattletales Nia is like the Nia face, and the All Engines Go one, well, it just looks crazy, and you can just see the detailing that's on one and not on the other. Yeah, Nia's an unusual engine. I think I classify Nia as quite a large engine, and in the strangest way, it's always been misrepresented in the toy form, and just dropping the real Nia to the deck there, I just think this is almost a crying shame. Although, you know, it's just so strange. Maybe that's what's so fascinating about it, but I don't know. You can have your say about this really strange Nia. Okay, well, here's Thomas, and I'll just do that so you can see the wheels. I can straight away see there's line work missing from the cold bunker area here. The cold bunker's not painted. Oh man, there's missed opportunities all around on this. Even if they did the buffers, I mean, on the... I don't know what... Yeah, it's just disappointing. There's so many missed opportunities here, it's not funny. It's so easy to do it right, or maybe it's too hard to do it right. That's what underneath looks like. It just looks weird. It's like, oh, we've tried up here, but we gave up when we got to the cold bunker. There's the face there. I mean, it's just another freak show. And if I hold up the classic Thomas from the My Busy Books, it's a little different scale. Okay, it's a smaller engine, but you can just see when it's done with the detailing that really it needs, it just completely lifts it, doesn't it? It's like fripping chalk and cheese. You know, and again, I keep saying, this is from the little cheap My Busy Books, the $10 variant, as I'll call it. And this comes from what I'm calling the $20 variant. And maybe it'll be the $10 variant after Christmas. You know, I think maybe the only good thing was I could only find one. Maybe it's hyper popular. But yeah, if you do that, it's like, oh my frippin' God, you know. If I do that, you go, oh my God. You do that. You know, buffer details on one, none on the other. And just take a look at the face there. I mean, it's, honest to God, it's... Yeah, it's Venus and Mars, it's chalk and cheese, it's everything that's the opposites, isn't it? Man, if it was done right, it would be awesome. But hey, you know, we seem to always struggle with how to do things correctly these days. I'll just show you the other characters. Bruno, the brake van, whatever. It's lacking a lot of details and things that could have been added to this. Maybe the faces, okay, but it's just missed opportunities on every side. Yeah, maybe the face is the winner. Maybe not. Oh, here's Carly the crane, and man, there's multiple things which are wrong here. I think the booms are all the wrong colour. A little black and yellow striping that's normally down here. The blue around the windows. I mean, where do I... Why couldn't they do this right? I mean, it would have been half awesome if it had the details. Okay, it's all rigid. It doesn't move. It's just a static model. But hey, maybe the face is right. But man, if only it was done like the classic My Busy Books Thomas stuff. But this certainly isn't. Very disappointing. I'm actually very disappointed. Okay, this is Sandy, the little rail car thing. There's the face there. There's, again, a lot of details. I mean, a bit of paint on the lights there would have helped. The black stripes along the side are not there. Just could have been made so much awesome with that little bit of extra attention to detail. And to show you how tiny this is, let me just grab up the Thomas, and you start to really see that Thandy, the little tiny thing, a miniature thing almost, versus anything else. And to really show that off, if I grab this very, very cranky, oversized, weird-looking James, again, yes, it's almost like she's almost smaller than the Tender. So yeah, unfortunately, it's another fail in my books. Missed opportunity. Okay, this is Canna. I don't understand why Canna is radically different to what we've just seen, in the sense that she's got painted wheels, she got her detailing down the side. There's nothing on the back. Let's take a look at the face. It's another Halloween special. Yeah, this is how they all should have been done, in a sense. For some reason, this character here has been given a raw treatment. But the big query is, why? Okay, it's Harold here, and there's basically one thing that really defines Harold. There's the face there. And it's such a simple thing, and it's not here. And it's a red stripe that basically runs along there, and some red tips on his rotors. It would have been so simple to pull off, but it seems like these days, sadly, it's so difficult. And they've got maybe the AEG shape correct, but without that line, this just looks a bit silly. It looks lazy, and I'm sorry, but I don't like it. It needs to be fixed. Okay, Diesel, I'm going to say Devious Diesel, but you can't say that with AEG. Everyone's happy and friendly, and doesn't he do like magic tricks and there's puffs of smoke and he appears and disappears, or is that just one episode? Or did I just expose I watch this show or don't watch the show? You can see, well, what's missing here, although some may say, oh, this is beautiful, this is actually correct. Well, maybe in the classic sense this is how Diesel looked, but in All Engines Go he has these purple areas now that detailing him. A lot of people don't like that, but that's what defines Diesel, and it's not here in All Engines Go. It just needs a bit of purple patterns on the side. Here's the face. I don't know what, I honestly don't know what to say. Looks like a clown in pain. I don't know. You know, look, you could have had, look, they've got the buffer beam painted, but they haven't painted just one bit of black paint on those buffers there. It would have just lifted it. A couple of splotches of purple, although many will argue it didn't need it, would also just have it correct. But as it stands, this is basically an All Engines Go joke. Okay, there's all the 10 characters from the All Engines Go Thomas Friends My Busy Book. It's, well, I'm classifying it as very disappointing, and I didn't realise how lacking in details these were until I compared them to the classic Thomas and Friends My Busy Books characters, and you know, these ones here we see on camera at the moment are like something from another planet, although All Engines Go is very different. But I can see that there's a lot of details missing that should have been added to these models of Thomas and Friends characters, and without that bit of extra detail, it's just very disappointing. It's the best way I could say it. I sit here and I look at these models now, and I didn't notice it when I looked at this quickly in store, and just how rough these are. And you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of knockoff toys. These aren't knockoff toys, this is the real deal. But this is the sort of lack of quality that I remember seeing when I looked at knockoff toys. Very much reminiscent of that. And the mystery is, why is Canna given almost like the royal treatment versus the others? To me, this one's done the way it should be done. Yet the others, to me, all seem to be lacking. And just keep remembering, I paid what I'm classifying as double the amount for what I would normally pay for this type of toy, book, whatever you want to call it. And you just think, how awesome would it be if Thomas had all of his line artwork, and if Percy had his stripes over his boiler, if Diesel had his purple there, if Bruno had more line details, he would have really started to shine. If James had the black stripes that he should have. I mean, really, James is done in a very, very lazy way. Minimalistic. Somehow Canna got the royal treatment, don't know why. If Carly got her blue lines where they should be, it would have really made this stand up, and that stripy sort of business she has, and the boom the right colour. I mean, if Nia had the details that she, you know, should have, it just doesn't make any sense. If little Sandy the stupid flipper was done correctly, of course, if poor old Harold had got his red line, that's about the only thing that defines a Harold. It's, to me, just so disappointing, and honest to God, just a missed opportunity. It's not hard to do things right. I was hoping this was going to be a really good story, but did we ever ask for the My Busy Book toys to be far less detailed? I don't think anyone asked for a simplified version of this. We've got to look at the playmat, but before we get there, let me just make sure this is made by the same people as what I'm calling the classic My Busy Book. Okay, let me just push these aside. Just going to quickly look here at the classic one, and also here. This is the 2019 read here. I think it's all the same company. It's made in China. It does say that near the barcode. And this is the 2023 there. I think it's all the same. And what's a bit weird here is this barcode sticker here that I put over the top. I think it's covering up what would be made in China written underneath there. We all want this. That's the classic version of My Busy Books, Thomas and Friends. I don't think we want this. Now, let me look at the playmat, and I will compare playmats as well now. Now I'm getting really bugged by this. Okay, there's that playmat there, and I'll pull out this playmat here too from the classic one. Gently, of course, if I can get it out. Okay, this is the My Busy Books All Engines Go playmat. At least we're back on Sodor Island. Thank God for that. There's a godsend, isn't it? Hey, how long did it take them to work out we need to stay on Sodor and not drift all around the world? I'm just letting you see the layout of the map here, and you can see the way the engines are on the map. Maybe best to show James and just how he can traverse this really tight radius tracks. Looking at the scale of James versus the track, here's Thomas here, chugging along. He can give the T-bone to James, and James crashes. And then Thomas can come up here and goes through the woods because he's freaking magical, and he can give Canna a bit of a trashing. You can have a lot of fun here. Look, children are very abstract in thinking, and it's a very abstract map. I think that's maybe the nicest word I could use for it. I think for the fact that the track, to me, is a little bit too abstract and it's a little bit too crazy is what's doing my head in. Of course, you can get Harold flying here. I mean, look, you can have a stack of fun. Don't get me wrong. This would be a stack of fun given to the right child or man-child like me. I'm starting to have fun here. Maybe I shouldn't, but I'm just letting you see this is what's going on with this. All Engines Go, My Busy Book, Sodor map. What I'll do is I'll just grab the characters up, push them to the side without damaging anything. We're going to leave the All Engines Go Sodor map down, and I'm going to lay out the map from the classic My Busy Books blah blah. Okay, we might see a radical difference in this other map. Okay, the map from that My Busy Books there is radically different to the map we had from the All Engines Go My Busy Books. It's like a section of Sodor. Maybe it marries up to the other maps that were inside other My Busy Book variations that I know were around. When the engines are on this map here, they run neatly within the rails, which is a little bit unusual versus that map we had before and can crash into Spencer. Oh my goodness me. Got Gordon coming along here. Oh, the indignity, I'm going to have a ram into Rebecca. And that's the way you play. Okay, Percy's in the duck pond. Nia's here. But maybe this is a little bit more realistic for the fact it feels like the trains can stay on the rails. James is over here. Okay, so yeah, there is enough track here to play, but it's not that complete map of Sodor that we were getting on the All Engines Go variation. And here comes Thomas to give Emily a whack, because that's the fun of, and Nia, get out of it, Nia. In fact, Nia can get completely lost. She's off the map. And give Gordon a smack and Spencer, because Thomas is number one, and Thomas can come up here and give Arthur a smack, because these are the characters that came in that My Busy Book. So yeah, and Thomas, because he's been naughty, can hide out in the farm shed there. But yeah, that's a radically different map versus what we're going on with the All Engines Go map. Okay, so you can see it like that. Radically different. If I just flip the side up, I'll lose my engines. You can just see, you know, All Engines Go and the classic All Engines Go. Which one do you prefer? Tricky choice, isn't it? Personally, I think I'd go with that. Yes, it's just strange when you see things radically change. Although initially when you look at this without inspecting something from the past, as in this set here, you think, well, not much has changed, but a lot has changed. I'm not very good at folding maps. It never seems to fold the same way again. You need a special skill to do that. Remembering, I purchased this My Busy Book. It was from Aldi Australia. That was the price there. But I've noticed My Busy Books have always been about that price. I'm pretty sure I said that in this video. And I would be very curious to see whether this All Engines Go version of My Busy Books appears in Aldi. I think it will, because it's the sort of thing that Aldi tend to sell. And I'd be very curious to see how much it sells for an Aldi once it appears there. I'm a notoriously hard marker on YouTube. I've always have been. I never give these big companies an easy time. If this had the detail, maybe I wouldn't be so cranky. That's what I'm cranky about. I can see that this is lazy stuff, okay? And I'm hoping that I've proven that in this video. I just don't say it without proving it, okay? Very, very... I've got to be honest with the audience. Okay, remember I paid for this with my own money. I put the map in. I think that map folded better than the other one. And I'll put this on here like this, because we must look after our $20 Thomas Friends All Engines Go investment as best we can. Always look after your stuff. Sometimes when I make a video for YouTube and I'm jumping between a few different things, I write up a little running sheet. So hopefully we would have started looking in my local retailer at the Thomas and Hot Wheels stock 2 weeks before Christmas. The Teddy Memory, the All Engines Go Busy Book, and then what became the uncoupler there, which I didn't see coming, it's what I've written in red there. It's the lack of detail. Just disappointed me, okay? But I want to talk about this next, the Disney coin. And then at the end, I actually go back to my local retailer to look at the Thomas stock a few days after what you see at the start of the video, and you'll get a surprise of what's going on there. I bought this at a post office. It's the same shop as I bought the Busy Book, but it was at a different post office. I was helping out a friend who had, well, moved his business, and he needed a bit of money going through the joint, and I stupidly saw this and I bought it. I'm not going to disclose how much I paid for this. I will take the receipt away. I'll just put it this way, it's not cheap, okay? But you're going to tell me whether this is worthwhile getting. And I got a bit... I looked at this here and I just thought, okay, this is the scale of this. I got a bit trapped here. I maybe should have investigated this a bit before I got involved. Okay, Perth Mint, blah, blah, blah. 2023 100th anniversary half-ounce silver proof collector coin, I dare say that says. On the bottom it says half-ounce silver-proof coin, blah blah blah. Okay, you got a feel for this, and I'm going to get this out of the box now. Have I blown up my money here, or have I got the investment of a lifetime? Okay, so this is a case, I believe. You can take this plastic film off. It's a Perspex case which has got magnets on here, so that's quite nice. I like that. So it's got its own display case. A certificate of authenticity. Okay, blah blah blah. It feels more like an ad for the Perth Mint. I've got no association with anything you see in these videos. I'm not that smart on YouTube. Okay, I've got no shares, blah 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 blah. You can go and investigate that all you like. That there is like a little pin pillow. I don't know what it's used for. And this is the silver coin. Okay, I'll just let you see it in the scale at a distance, in a sense. First off, it feels way lighter when I've got it in my hand here. Look at that, it's beautiful. That's that's nice. That's Queen Elizabeth, because she passed away. That's actually very nice. I didn't realise that. Anyway, yeah, so let me come in a bit closer on this now. Okay, we're nice and close here. You can see Disney, blah blah blah. I don't want to promote Disney too much here. I've really not the sort of thing I'm into. And this is the side that's doing it for me. It's Queen Elizabeth II, 2023, half-ounce silver. Very nice. This is what's doing it for me. It's extremely nice, actually. You can't keep your eyes off that. But strangely, this side here, it's not doing much for me at all. That's doing zero for me. I've gone back a bit. There's a very good reason, and if I bring in the box it was sold in, you can see the scale of the box versus the little coin that came out of it. I keep saying, to me, that's the side that you want to look at. That's what's impressing me, that side. It's beautiful to look at. But the scale of what's on the box versus what comes out of the box, it's just something I wanted to show you. Yeah, caught me by surprise. Maybe the thing that's spooked me is, and I'm not sure whether this is normal with this sort of thing because I don't collect this sort of thing, is there seems to be a lot of effort in the boxing here and this presentation versus the thing that came out, although the Queen Elizabeth II was beautiful to look at. I'm just getting this back together. Yeah, I actually like the box if I did that, yeah. So that's like a display box with a magnetised lid, and you would peel the front here so it'd be nice and beautiful and clear. Yes, should have done some more investigation before I ran in to help someone in a new shop. Oops, in a new shop. I'll just get that back in box. Maybe you can tell me whether I have blown up my money or not, or whether that was the best investment that I've made in a long time. Something I've noticed, and they're tricky to find sometimes, the metal engine, all engines go, Thomas stock is starting to drop in price, down to $5. It can be as high as $7. It says the other price here is $6. But I'm seeing it in some discount stores. That might be a sign of trouble. On YouTube these days, it's not very often I look at this sort of stuff. It is like playing with fire. Looking at this on YouTube, the more you play with fire, the more chances you're going to get burnt, and eventually you will get burnt. It is, well, the systems on YouTube are ruthless in hunting down stuff and destroying it. And no matter what argument case you put up against the system is, they are always right. That's what I've found. Although I have had multiple victories, but then you ask yourself, if I get a victory on a video looking at this, but not a video looking at this, well, what makes any sense when essentially the videos are on about the same thing? So that's how dumbass the system is. And I think about a video like this and what's the perfect thumbnail? I've done many thumbnails for YouTube for my videos over the years, and I like to, of course, you've got to keep it in context of what you've shown in the video, and I think it's going to be something like this, but of course up close to camera, and maybe a black background or something, because it's quite a darker episode, this one, looking at this stuff. Maybe something, maybe nudge that one forward a bit, okay, like that. And, you know, it's the old chalk and cheese Venus and Mars that I think is very important to show. I wouldn't do it like this because the AEG, Thomas, absolutely monsters that classic model looking Thomas in a sense. Yeah, that's just a monster, isn't it? I think it's always going to work better that way. I don't struggle with making thumbnails. I think some producers on this site do struggle and don't understand what's eye-catching. But to me, that's where it's at. Something like that. I don't think things front on work that well, or kooky angles like this, or, you know, or maybe a train wreck works. It makes people look. Sometimes that's the trick. But I think it's going to be something like that. Yeah. So the next thing we're going to take a look at is, I'll go back to the shop that we saw at the start of this video, and it's 4 days after, I hope, when I was there, and we'll see what's changed.
What a bunch of crap looking at those My Busy Books! Of course the bloody new Busy Box is going to look like rubbish, but the trick is, don't look at the ones from the past! This guy's a frippin' loser! He's trapped in the past! He thinks every day is 1977! He thinks Elvis is about to pop out from under a rock! He's been dead for frippin' years! He's never coming back! Oh my frippin' god! And he's trying to tell you that there's no detail in that My Busy Book! Who gives a frippin' flippin' ass if there is or there isn't? Move on, I say! Everything's cheap and cheerful these days and under the price! Anyway, come closer, I've got something very, very secret to tell you. Come closer, very carefully. Hey, guess what I'm gonna do to his most precious Thomas that I've got in my arms here? He's been looking for this for months and months and months and months. And I'm gonna, let's just say, fire up its boiler in a very special way, but hey, just give me a bit of time to work my magic, and I'm gonna make sure that when he finds his crispy critter Thomas, he's gonna frippin' have a great explosion. I'm gonna snap him when he sees what I'm gonna do to his most precious Thomas. But that's what's coming. I'm gonna snap him, I'm gonna break him, and he thinks he runs this show. He thinks he runs this show. A running card there, what goes on? And did you notice I wasn't in the running card? Because you know why? Because I actually run the show, and the director never reveals these secrets. Anyway, push back a bit, you're too close. I'm gonna sneak away now and prepare the final fire for his most precious Thomas. It's gonna be a wonderful thing, Thomas. Go crispy critter, smoking and burning. I can't wait. I can't wait. It's gonna be wonderful, and it's gonna be flipping wonderful. At least this rubbish broke before.
Well, this is 4 days on from when I was last in here, so we're crawling closer and closer to Christmas. So I looked at the Thomas stock in this store. I think down there is looking fairly similar to what I saw before. But when I drag up to the next shelf here, we're going to see a bit of a change. Now, the Percys are still there. We'll count those soon, but what's not here is all the other stock I had lined up through here. All that's been sold. As for the impossible to sell Percys, which will sell by the time Christmas hits, okay, let's have a look here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so remember 5. If I can't remember 5, I've got a major mental issue. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 Perthy. Do I think all the Percys here will sell? Well, quite simply, yes, because basically there's no other option here. No new stock has arrived. Percy's all the rage. Looking at the sell from bottom to top, it was nice to see the Thomas AEG stock has sold, but there's no metal engine here, and I can't see any new stock in here, and we are crawling close to the Christmas. As I go up here, a lot of the Bluey stock is gone. I'm not surprised at all about that. And we'll get up to the top here, and I can still see Bluey's Miraculous Beach Cabin. Looks wonderful. Looking at the Hot Wheels area, the 5-packs have been eaten out. There's nearly half of them gone, and as I crawl up here, you'll see all the Miraculous stock of all other Hot Wheels things that you can grab for Christmas. It's a miracle what's on offer here. And hey, I've seen this so many times in the lead up to Christmas, it's not funny. I can say it again, you can't make a cent from an empty peg, and there's plenty of empty pegs going on in this store here. It's amazing.